accidents happen, and it's important to know how to fix them. If you've invested a bunch of time in a project and you get a little tear out like the one you see on this humidor here, you don't want to take all the work you've done and have to completely start over. So it's important to learn how to fix these errors, mistakes that are bound to happen. So essentially the idea here is to, here, this one was some tear out from the table saw from whenever I cut the dados for these trim pieces. So what I'm looking to do here is make a straight edge on both of those corners so that I can then glue another piece of wood in there. So I'll use a variety of different hand tools here, a couple different size chisels to get it out, and then I'll find a piece of stock to fit in there. The idea there is don't try to make it a perfect fit right off the bat. Just try to make sure you have good contact at both of the edges. So you've got as tight of a joint as you can, and then make sure your piece you're gluing in there is a little bit oversized, and then we'll use hand tools at the end to flush it up. So I hope this helps. So here I'm just checking to see how my piece is gonna match up on the edges there. So I can see I have a little bit of a gap, so I'm just trying to clean that up just a little bit and make that joint as tight as possible. Yeah, I'm not naturally a very patient person, but I think woodworking can make you be patient. Because if you, decided to just start over this time, you're talking, 8 to 10 hours of work at least to get back to this point. So it's important to learn a little patience here. Take the extra, 10 minutes to make this fix. Initially, when I was first learning how to do this, I couldn't do it in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But inevitably, these things happen. Before I'd probably just try to sand it out and fix it, and it ended up just not looking too great. But this little trick works really well. And so now looks like here I'm pretty happy with how my joint's gonna look. So now I'm just gonna trim the piece I'm gonna glue in there. I'm gonna just trim it up just a little bit so that it doesn't get knocked around when I'm trying to glue it up. So a couple little pencil marks, a little work with a handsaw, and then I did kind of a little rip cut with one of my chisels, which you'll see here, and then I'm ready to glue it together. Important thing also on the patience thing is once you glue this thing up, make sure it's completely dry before you try to go out there and flush it up. I've done it several times where I've gotten the thing in there perfectly together, and then I just didn't wait for the glue to dry enough and ended up breaking it off and having to start the process over. So always give it a little check once you think your glue's dry. Just see if you can move it with your fingers first. If you wait a couple hours, you're definitely going to be good. Sometimes I'll try to do it after 30 minutes, and I've had a probably 50-50 success ratio. So just once you get it glued up, find something else to do and come back to it. You'll benefit from that. So just a little bit of glue. Again, I'm not too worried about this squeeze out. I'll clean that back up, clean that off whenever I flush everything back up after the glue is set. So got a little piece. You can notice how I made sure it sits proud on both sides. Worst thing you could do here is glue it up and have a piece too small, and then you essentially would have to do the same thing over again. So So to do these, I mean, once you go to flush it up, I'd recommend having some kind of block plane, flush cut saw, and you could also do it with a chisel. I just found it to be a little easier to control how much I'm taking off. So here you can see it's dry. Got quite a bit sticking out there on the actual bottom of the box. So I'm gonna I opted here to just go ahead and use my flush trim saw. Makes pretty quick work of it. If it doesn't get it perfectly flush, it's pretty easy to clean it up either with just a sanding block or a block plane, just depending on kind of what you're looking at. So here you can see I'm kind of going slow, just making sure that the glue's set and it's not, the piece isn't moving. If it was to move, I'd go ahead and just put my tape back on there and see if they glue it hard enough and come back to it in another hour or so. But here the glue's dry, so there's no issue. Oh, there we go. Pretty simple, and then probably only had about a 32nd, 16th of an inch of the material sitting proud here. So a couple little passes with the block plane, made quick work of it. Then hit it again on the bottom. Then I've got a little sanding block off a piece of scrap wood, and I just flushed everything up with that. So next time you ding one of your projects or drop it or have some tear out, give this one a try. You know, try to line up the grain, match it as best as you can, but it really makes a huge difference in your finished product. And once you have some finish on it, like, you honestly can't even really tell. So there you can see the corner all done and repaired.